Soul Production.
The future of hip hop and R&B.
Why not live? I watched the Lupe interview with Angela Yee, and wow, so much knowledge and so much information in just 10 minutes. It was like an hour long, but I watched 10 minutes. I specifically clipped out these 10 minutes that I wanted to watch on here, and you know what I'm saying, address on these platforms or whatever. But it's very interesting, man, because you know, you see these artists, you know, you've seen Lupe come up, Kick Push, biggest record of that, one of the biggest records of that year, you know what I'm saying? And then you seen Superstar, and then he had the Cool and the next album, and it was like niggas just disappeared. People that aren't in the industry or in these record labels and don't get to see these behind the scenes and interviews and things that go on don't understand what happens. People like, oh, Lupe fell off, Lupe fell off. No, Lupe didn't fall off. He just stopped working with a label who was trying to take advantage of him. I'm not gonna make a blanketed statement and be like labels are bad. As he describes in this interview, you know what I'm saying, it was a specific person that he kept mentioning, and it's like this person was doing like all types of shady business and shit like that. Lupe is one of my favorite rappers. Actually, since we're here, let me go ahead and show this goddamn let me show this picture. I seen this picture in my phone the other day. I was like, I forgot I got this. Look at this shit, man. Look at this shit, man. This is me and Lupe. This like 2015 or something. This like 2015 or something. I really f with Lupe. You know what I'm saying? Bro is a real legend in my eyes. So I'm saying all that to say, that shit loud as hell. I'm saying all that to say, man, I was disappointed that he didn't get to where a Jay-Z was or where a Kendrick is. You know what I'm saying? Because Lupe is teaching rap at MIT, bro. That's an Ivy League school, my nigga. Like, let's really talk about it. But anyway, we gonna get into this interview, man.
Okay, cool, but it's still a weird relationship, and then it blew up.
Here it go right here.
And so at that point in time, now I know that story about Kick Push, and I know during that time, that's when artists were signing 360 deals.
Nah,
not
360s
yet.
Didn't come
Not
until
till later.
To the Cool, so 2009. So
Okay.
We got to Atlantic at 2005. Food and Liquor came out in 2006, into 2006. So you just started to have the inklings of what a 360 deal in those 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010. And then after like 2011, it became like standard.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you weren't in that, it was kind of like...
Oh, yeah. Leo was like, yo, if you don't sign this deal, we're not promoting any of your records.
Yeah, because...
I was like, yo, nigga, I got like 6 more albums to do. Like, what are you talking
Crazy.
about?
And I want to break that down in a second. But first, let's go back to this Kick Push situation, because I saw you and Joe Butt talking about that on live, and how basically you had that song before.
Yeah.
Right? So explain to me, if people didn't see that was a situation where...
It's small, and it may seem like, you know, petty, and I know maybe folks and fans and, you know, members of the community are used to like big stories. Like, oh, and then this big shit happened, and the building did this.
He
and then,
downplaying it, man. That shit, this is a big story.
But sometimes the most like pivotal and important moments in somebody's career are these really small things. Like a small thing happens, and that small thing is representative of this wider problem that's about to become a bane in your life for the next 20 years. And ours was, you know, First and 15 Productions was always an independent production company. We weren't necessarily a record label because we didn't distribute, right? But we could get songs on the radio, you know, we could do little things here and there. And we had got Kick Push on the radio in Chicago. So this is you know, in the midst of Atlantic kind of putting things together, this, that, and the third. So we moving and grooving, shaking and baking, doing what we do. And the head of the radio station at the time, the PD, calls Chill, because they don't, you know, first name basis, cell phone, call me, you need something. And he was like, yo, we just got a call from Craig Kalman himself, the chairman of Atlantic Records, telling us to slow down and on playing the record, like to slow the spins down.
Now this is crazy. This is crazy.
Show we get into rotation now.
This is crazy.
Rotation, and at that point, GCI, the station in Chicago, was the big stick for the region. So whatever
we're on
Chicago's,
GCI too, so shout out to GCI. Yeah.
Whatever Chicago was playing, you know, the rest, you know, Milwaukee would play, and then Detroit would play, and so like in that region. So to get in power rotation meant like, oh, we one step away from being national with a record independently without Atlantic doing anything. So it's like, hey, once y'all tune in, shout out to Crespo, shout out to all the folks, the promotion folks at Atlantic. It's like, okay, we've already built it up like this. Y'all just come in and knock it out the box, take it where it needs to go.
Okay, so first of all, for them to have that type of access to get their record on syndicated radio in Chicago with no label, they did it independently. That's a fucking feat in itself. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know what I mean? But they said the head guy at Atlantic Records at the time called the program director of GCI and said, stop spinning the record because it's going too fast. The setup is crazy. This shit is really chess.
But that didn't happen. The CEO was telling people to stop playing the record. So he didn't think we would know. We have a meeting at the label. I wasn't there. And he was talking something, you know, because again, the honeymoon's over now.
Right.
You got the money. We bailed you out of jail. What the fuck you finna do for us now? And I was like, okay. He said something, and Chill was like, yo, why don't you tell him how you stopped playing them? And couldn't nobody believe it. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, like your man's, and Matt, shout out to my man Gene Deal, a few other folks, they stood up, was like, yo, like, why would you do that? Why would you injure a record like that, right? And his excuse was like, yo, I felt we weren't ready, you know, blah. But then it becomes, again, that's that small thing where people like, yeah, so somebody called because they weren't ready. We could rationalize that. But it was a symptom of a wider problem that Atlantic has. That not anymore because that whole regime is gone. But it was, we not signing you for you. We're not signing you for you and your records. That's just proof for us that when we send you into the studio with our records, you're going to be able to perform.
This wig is wicked.
Right?
This wig is wicked.
Your story and your life and your creative.
This wig get wicked.
We just interested in knowing that you're able to rap and perform or sing or do whatever. Now, that just got you up to here. Now we need these big records, right? And you think like, okay, cool, we need these big records.
Right.
Okay, cool. We can make big records if it's just about big records. Because, you know, superstars, all us, right? Or we know how to make big pop records. I learned how to do that at Arista.
I didn't know he was signed to Arista.
When we talk about big records, we talk about records that are not only going to be distributed and released through Atlantic, but also all the publishing is owned by Warner Chappell. The sample that you're going to sample the record from is owned by Warner Chappell catalog.
Damn!
The songwriters who wrote the chorus are signed to Warner Chappell. Warner Chappell is owned by Craig Cowman and what's the other kid's name? Can't even think of this dude's name. Mike Caron. Okay. Like they have actual personal investment in this thing.
Right, he's big on doing the big pop records, and
only the big pop records that they have at least 3 or 4 entryways of finance into.
Okay,
bro. All right, bro. We can't just like graze over that. Yo, what's up, man? It's your man Sebastian Francis. If y'all found anything you seen in this video helpful or informational or whatever the case is, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and keep supporting the channel, man. And I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing, man. But appreciate y'all. Yo, the misconception here is, you know, oh, we're artists. We're getting signed because our art matters. What we say, our voice, our perspective matters. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, our music is going to heal the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the misconception, right? They're signing you to know that, yo, he or she can perform these records that we're going to do. And these records are not your records. These records are records that we are providing to you based on writers that we have signed, based on the producers sampling records that we own the rights to, and you're going to do those records, and we're going to keep it all in the fucking family. Now look,
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I found it in a Lupe Fiasco interview. So when I think about, why I haven't got an opportunity yet, or I haven't signed any contracts yet, and then I hear information like this, it's like I'm actually okay with the fact that I haven't signed, because I know I would have been thirsty. I know myself. I would have been thirsty. I would have signed whatever and been like, you know what? I'm gonna just figure it out when it's time to cross that bridge. Nigga, this game is not what we think, and this is the reason why I'm even on here talking about this, because I'm like, damn, bro, like I'm nice, bro. I know all these people, but it's a different game that's being played here, my nigga. These niggas don't give a about your art. They care about greasing their pockets, my nigga. You just heard about 3 to 4 different streams of income from one record. That's one record. And then that's not even including them making money on sync, them making money on video games, because mind you, he had to sign the 360. That's what he said in the beginning. You need to sign to this 360 or we not promoting the album. So he would have signed to that 360 and he would have been giving up not only pieces of every other avenue of his income, but he would have been also not being able to do his songs because they're providing the songs that you need to perform, which leads me to my next point. Is Drake really the thief? Or is he just doing what he's told because he signed to a big company? You know what I'm saying? Is that what's going on? Hearing this information, it's like, damn, bro, like the writers is signed to this nigga and they're gonna, it's too much, it's too convoluted, bro, and it's like, it's not what we think at all.
They want to keep everything in-house so that the money's circulating in-house.
So like if you came up to the label, it's like, yo, I got this song that I wrote that I think would be great for Pink, right? They're like, oh, that's cool, Look, why don't you sign a 10-song deal with us?
Okay.
Right? They wouldn't just say, yo, that's dope, keep doing it, here's a check for that one record, you get a little publishing, keep it moving. Like, nah, we need to own everything.
They trying to own you.
We need to own all the rights. Who else
want to own you?
On it? We need to sign them. And so by the time it gets to me, it's all they've already.
They made 10 times what you
right.
made.
They're triple dipping, and that was just it's genius business. But it's a terrible way to treat artists.
Right. It's not a creative business. Yeah. It's a business.
It's a business, right? Because in that, it's like your records, whatever. We're not interested in your records, even though they could be just as good or even better or have more potential. And then that flip is, and that is why I have no sympathy for them or anything like that. And I tell artists because I think it's important to let the artistic community know, like, this is what you're really dealing with. I'm not making this up. I'm not gassing anything, and I'll stand on this in the court of law and say the same thing.
It's so valuable and priceless that he can talk about this now because he's no longer in the major label system. So all this information is shit that he couldn't have talked about while he was signed. You know what I'm saying? And now that the game has changed so much, like, we have access to this information, so we don't have to do the things that they've done.
If you don't sign this 360 deal, we're not promoting your records. Not only are we not promoting your records, we're not promoting even the records that we give you.
Right. I've heard that from artists. If you don't sign a 360 deal, because there were artists who already signed and then they want you to then rework your deal to make it a 360 deal. So they're getting money from merch. They're getting money from
touring.
Streaming is happening now. So that's a whole nother situation.
They're invested in the streaming companies, but just personally, like they got their own personal everything. Investment into it.
Because they're not making as much. So they're like, if we're not going to,
we'd rather put our all into
another artist who's got a 360 deal than to an artist who doesn't, and that has his own situation, and we're just doing distribution. That doesn't really make us any money.
It makes them a ton of money. Yeah, I mean they still got a ton of catalog. You still got all this, but you're gonna spend that same amount of money managing it. You're gonna own the most valuable thing in this whole situation. The most valuable thing in any situation is the masters, right? And so I asked for, when Leo said that to me, I was like, cool. I didn't like you. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna need some collateral. Won't you give me my masters? I'm only 2 albums in, right? I don't mind. As a matter of fact, I'll help you build out the 360 piece, at least when it comes to fashion, because I know folks in the fashion world up and down the chain. And then you could really tailor make these your merch deals to the artists and do it through the whole system, like fully vertically integrated through the whole system, from the designer to the retail to the pop-up to the manufacturing to the distribution to the fulfillment, the whole piece. And it was kind of like, nah, we got a guy that can do that, but you're not finna do that to me. So I didn't sign, and my career was like goodbye.
Wow.
So my career ended at Lasers. I was like, then there's nothing else to do here.
Right.
Like, this is all, from this point, I can get through Craig doing his little random shenanigans with songs.
We didn't even get to the best part of the story.
Chapel only releasing, like, they went out and bought, I give it to you like this.
Right here.
Kick Push is a sample. It's a very, very rare, unique sample that was released on some song in the Philippines back in wherever. Right? Really local kind of thing.
So you got it cleared.
The only reason that we have that sample is because the producer Soundtrack is Filipino, and it's part of his kind of he heard that song coming up as a kid because dad playing it, but we never heard that record before, ever. Non-Filipino, shout out to all my Filipinos. But like, just, that's not in the milieu. So the only reason to know it because it has this very regional piece. Soundtrack does it. We do the record. People love it. Pops off. Atlantic, so you think like, okay, Craig is trying to slow the record down. Like, why? Why is he trying to slow the record down? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's popping. It's hard to get records placed at radio. It's a lot of competition. 50's right here. Lil Wayne's right here. Such and such right here. Here's the little record that could trying to make it through. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you do that? Why would the chairman of this public company make that decision so detailed for himself to call this little radio station in Chicago to tell them to stop playing this record?
Wicked.
Before it goes national.
Wicked.
Because at the same time that they were doing that, they were flying somebody to the Philippines to find this lady to buy the sample.
That's dedication.
And that's what they did.
Oh, hell no! What your ass say? I mean, your ass. Hell no. I mean, she said,
nigga. You know how, yo, that's a chess move for your ass, boy. Yo, stop playing the record. Slow down on the record. Sure, no problem. Why? Don't worry about it. Hey, Jimmy, I need you to go to the Philippines, go to the record store. Yeah, bruh, that shit is wicked, bro. It's like this how these niggas is getting down. And when you hear people like 50 say like, nigga, the corporate offices is worse than the streets. Cause these niggas are smiling your face and be at your party and your dinners and all this, and then try to cut your throat, bro. They would have owned the sample, in which they could have then this would get crazy. Once they own the sample, they can set the rate in which Lupe and the producer would have had to pay out. So basically, they could have been like, yo, yeah, we'll clear the sample, but we need 100% of the rights for the fucking record. So this way, if they would have did that, then Lupe would have been getting no royalties. Soundtrack, no royalties, my nigga. You know how diabolical that is? You sent them niggas out at simultaneously calling the program director like, hey, don't play that fucking record. We're doing something. Bro, that shit is crazy. So he about to get into it some more.
That is dedication.
They flew somebody to the Philippines to find the person, and they bought the rights.
It really is,
so
man.
They own
it really is
the Kick Push sample.
So they were making money anyway off of it, but they were waiting to get the sample.
Right. They're like, let's not go national yet because we don't own the record yet.
Now when they
okay. They wanted to do it before it went national because once your record is on syndicated radio and you start to do real spins, that's when you start to make real money, bro. And y'all remember that song, You're a Jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. They're going to try to take me out, y'all. If they try to take me out, you know what happened, man. The niggas who own that made 25 mil off that one fucking song. $25 million. $25 million. Ask me how I know. I can't tell you. But I will say this: it was factual, and I know for a fact that shit is real because it was. Yeah, I seen it. I seen the receipts, nigga. But yo, real talk, off one record, you can make that amount of money off one song. So with that in mind, knowing that you can make way more than that, but you can make $25 million off one record. And mind you, they didn't own, I think they didn't own the publishing to it. I think they own the master, or vice versa. I can't remember the exact details. But if you can do that on one record, what can you do with not only making the record go national and it being a fucking hit like it was, but you also own the rights to the song because you own the sample. And if you wanted to get even real crazier, you could just be like, we'll set it at 60%, but how about this, Lupe? You give us 30% of your cut. Like it could get real tricky, bro. I get real passionate about this shit because a lot of people be dreaming, bro. Just like the NBA, my nigga. I remember the day I was like, I'm not gonna make it to the league. It was devastating, but I was like, okay, it's 412 or 50 people in the fucking NBA. I'm not that good. I'm not a fucking D1 varsity nigga that's out here dunking on niggas and shit. And Lance Stevenson was in my fucking circuit. Like, nigga, I'm not gonna make it to the league. So I get so passionate about this shit because it's like, bro, I done devoted my whole life, bro. And I'm not, maybe not my whole life, probably since I was like 16, 17. I'm 34. I done devoted that many years to understanding not only the craft, but understanding the business behind this shit. And it's like, bro, every day you learn some new shit that's just like, this is not what I thought it was. And for people coming up, for little 16-year-old me that was like, oh man, Pharrell is so cool, I want to make beats. It's like, yo, dog, you got to know this before you start making beats because this shit is not no fairy tale. All the fairy tales in your life get debunked, nigga. You found out Santa Claus wasn't real. You found out the Tooth Fairy wasn't real. You found out the music industry ain't really about your music, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Oh God, oh God.
To ask GCI to slow it down, does the program director say yes, or because you guys have your own relationship?
But he has to make a decision,
right? Because there's other artists.
Because there's other artists and there's other things and there's other benefits to keeping your relationship. And who are we, right? We in the city, we gonna come find you, right? But we're not gonna do that. So, but at the end of the day, that's the only thing you really got to worry about with us. Mm-hmm. But with them, you got to worry about them blacklisting you from this artist if they want to come perform at your birthday, summer bash, celebration concert.
Now you can't get any of our artists.
Now you can't get none of our artists. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Look,
Oh, hell no.
it's a dirty game, bro. And like, I just keep saying it because it's just not right. And I applaud everybody doing their independent shit. Real talk. Everybody out here independently releasing music, getting your 20K, 50K followers off your brand and doing your YouTube and all that shit, man. I applaud you, bro, because this shit is not easy. And when you get into these positions, when you start working at a label, when you get signed, when you become a producer for a label, you think, oh yeah, man, I'm about to go in here and go crazy. But you don't know about the fucking roadblocks that you're going to face. And it's all based on relationships and how people fuck with you or not. You know what I'm saying? So like he just described, like, okay, the program director, that's my man's. Big dog over here at Atlantic could shut my whole life down. And then it's like, okay, do you be mad at your man's because he couldn't do the favor for you and keep playing your record? Or do you understand and empathize with the fact that this big giant CEO over here could like end his whole career and like make sure his family don't eat again from music ever? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like when you think about that, it's just like, damn, bro, like a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us get into this, like artists get into it with good intentions and you know what I'm saying, like zealous goals, and like we want to help the world and do all this, that, and the third, and then you wonder why people get corrupted. It's because of situations like this, because they have no other choice. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you always have a choice, but I can understand if a nigga be like, nah, I gotta do what the boss say. I gotta do what master say. I get it. But then again, nigga, to miss me with that shit, nigga. Oh shit, hold up.
As a business, there are no rules. Whatever I need to do, kidnap your grandmother, fine. For real, right? But if we're trying to create a relationship, like friends and artists and creativity, nothing. So I think I just wasn't built for that part, because I was like, I just came from the streets. I don't want to go back to the streets. If that's the case, we go back to the streets.
Well, how did you end up getting off Atlantic finally?
I feel like there was a lot of information in that alone, man. Shout out to Lupe, man. One of the greatest to ever do it. That nigga's the GOAT. He is a lyricist. You know what I'm saying?